If he was, if he was not anti-establishment, why does the establishment try to put him in prison for 500 years?
So,
Well, that's $1 million question right there. We have Charlie Kirk on our screen once again today. And the title of this one, Charlie Kirk runs rings around Trump hater. I mean, let's see how this one goes. Let's get into the video.
so I do have massive disagreements with you, but I do want to thank you for coming and speaking with us, because I don't agree with people trying to silence you from speaking. I don't think that's right. So thank you for coming and speaking with us. I don't really understand this idea that President Trump is anti-establishment, because I think his record shows that he's actually really establishment. So just a couple examples, like he took Barack Obama's drone strikes, which had a 90% civilian casualty rate, and it was a bunch of war crimes that Barack Obama committed with that, killed innocent civilians and everything. Trump took that and he increased Obama's drone strikes by 432%. And even his first raid as president, the raid in Yemen killed an 8-year-old American girl. And like another example, he filled his cabinet with like war hawks like John Bolton, who's never met a war he didn't like.
That's true.
Swampy people like Alexander Acosta, who he was literally the guy that like brokered the sweetheart deal for Jeffrey Epstein. So I don't get and even his voting record, like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, they voted with him like 78% of the time. Liz Cheney voted 90%. Yes,
thanks for being here. Let me challenge you, because there's a pretty obvious point here. If he was, if he was not anti-establishment, why does the establishment try to put him in prison for 500 years?
So,
Well, that's $1 million question right there. If he was not an anti-establishment, why is it the establishment is trying to put him in prison for like the rest of his life, right? It's as simple as that. If it's simple as that, why are they so afraid of Trump if Trump wasn't a threat? Good question.
Why does the establishment try to put him in prison for 500 years?
so,
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
And by the way, on this drone thing, yeah, he might have continued drone programs. Did he not try to end the Afghan war? In fact, he was the only one in the room trying to end the war in Afghanistan. And finally, if he was pro-establishment, how many new wars were started under Donald Trump?
Well, so for the
Zero.
the establishment
Zero. Answer the question. Zero.
Wars were started under Donald Trump.
Well, so for the
Zero.
establishment trying to lock him up, I do think there's legitimate crimes there. We can disagree on that, but I do agree that the establishment.
We're definitely going to disagree on that.
I do agree that the establishment it is a politically motivated thing, because I think if he decided not to run, they wouldn't be going after him.
Good.
So I do think it's political, but I don't think it changes the fact that those are legitimate crimes. But I don't think the establishment is scared of his like how he would govern. What the establishment hates more about Donald Trump is that like whenever he's like running for president, he exposes the corruption in the establishment, and he has a way of making it seem like he's not part of them while playing the game while governing. So I don't think they're so scared.
Okay,
of his
so let's
record.
talk about.
He's contradicting himself so bad. It cannot be true. Like, how could he go about exposing the establishment if he is part of the system? You cannot bite the hand that feeds you. Nobody else does that. Now, you can say some people are crazy enough to do that, but if this was the case, they would have found something against Trump by now and taken him down. The people who are part of the establishment will not dare to speak against it. They cannot. Okay? They're all part of the system. There's no way they can go against the system. The reason Trump could go against the system, and rightfully so, and able to overcome the system, it is because he is not part of the system. At least not from the perspective of what we are discussing here, right?
Part of them while playing the game while governing. So I don't think they're so scared.
Okay,
of his
so let's
record.
talk about 3 policy issues.
Yes.
What is the establishment regime position on trade?
The establishment.
Unlimited amount of trade, foreign products coming in, free trade. What was Trump's position? Tariffs on China,
Yeah.
right? Renegotiating NAFTA. What is the establishment position on global type contracts? For example, Paris Peace Treaty. Trump got out of it, right? Blew up all this stuff at the UN. How about another?
I will tell you, this is the one point that I think really made Trump a massive enemy of the establishment, the deep state, the administrative state, right? The moment he went against the climate change movement, it was like, I cannot believe he did this. So this is kind of the reason why a lot of this stuff kind of came against Trump. when he went out of the Paris Climate Agreement in 2014. This was signed, and I think as soon as he became president, he actually took us out of that because it would have destroyed the economy. It would have destroyed the entire system. And part of the reason why we are in this mess, okay, part of the reason why inflation is extremely high, it is as a result of supposedly trying to save the planet from climate change. The Paris Climate Agreement was reinstated by Joe Biden. And with that came the shutting down of the pipeline so that you cannot drill. And hey, this is not happening. So where you're going to get your energy from? And here we are buying energy from other countries when we're like, hey, man, we have liquid gold underneath, right? But we're not even taking care of that. And as a result, here we are paying the price. Paying the price. And this is the issue that they had with Trump. This is why they hated Trump. Because he went against the system. He went against their agenda.
Negotiating NAFTA. What is the establishment position on global type contracts? For example, Paris Peace Treaty. Trump got out of it, right? Blew up all this stuff at the UN. How about another issue? Immigration. What is the regime standard position on immigration? Invade the world, invite the world, as many people as possible. Trump put a travel ban on from China and had a terror watch list ban for any country in the Middle East. So I could go position by position, not to mention, look at Trump fired Comey. Yeah, you agree with that one.
Yeah, but
what kind of establishment guy fires the head of the FBI and then has to experience a 2-year investigation launched by Mueller, which was complete lies?
I think that investigation was BS too, but he put in Christopher Wray. Christopher Wray right now was protecting the Biden administration.
Fair enough. So,
okay, well, Trump didn't always make all the right decisions. And how could you know? How could you know, right? And this is why you got to do your homework. And I think he's grown. Christopher Wray was definitely a bad choice, right? But here's the thing. Sometimes you don't really know until later on. And sometimes some people could start on a positive note and turn out to be against you. That happens. People change. However, I think Trump, when he fired Comey, he brought the wrath of the 3-letter agency against them. It was, oh man, it was atrocious watching that happen. We're still in it. We're still watching it happen until now. People are just going after Trump as a result of this. It's pretty crazy.
But he put in Christopher Wray. Christopher Wray right now was protecting the Biden administration.
Fair enough. So that's a fair point.
He puts in establishment people.
So your argument is purely on personnel. And let me just say this. Donald Trump, as Rush Limbaugh would say, selects personnel that is perplexing at times. But what I think you will agree with is that his instincts and many of his major policy actions were generationally and transformationally against the regime establishment of the last 40 years in both political parties. And whether it be war, immigration, trade, international type agreements. And understand, he was the only one that was fighting, and these people would come in and they'd lie to him. I'm going to be an FBI director with this. And he will be the first one to say, should have handled Fauci differently, should have handled Birx differently. But you know what? If you want to see Donald Trump unleashed, wait for term 2 Donald Trump to be able to go after the administrative state. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, I like this guy, though. He actually did his homework. He did bring about some good points, but I like what Charlie Kirk also did. Charlie Kirk kind of like helped him to focus on the main ideas that Trump went after instead of him going after little things that he thought Trump confirms Trump was part of the establishment. But he's like, no. Look at the ideas in and of themselves. Look at the policies that Trump stood against. This is kind of how you know whether or not he was part of the establishment. Very great argument, well presented as well. And again, Trump 2024. Okay, the reason why many of us are going to vote for him because it's proven to be true over and over again. Actually, Trump did win the election. I'm going to show you a video later on today. And the evidence is so loud and clear now, it's almost irrefutable. Even though he's not in office, people are still voting for him. We love Trump because Trump goes against the system that does not love us very much, right? It's this system who hate everything about us. who is looking to supposedly sustainability or to control the population, or it's a death cult, if I may use that word, right? So that system is the reason why a man like Trump is needed. However, I will say this, much more than a man like Trump, we need a man like Jesus. The scripture says in John 14:23, if any man love me, he will keep my words, and my Father will love him, and we will come unto him and make our abode with him. Beautiful. For as much as I love Trump, this is the part that we must never forget. Donald Trump could only do so much. Donald Trump could only achieve so much. We need to be praying for God to restore these beautiful principles of this country. Advocate for Trump, vote for Trump. But we should be praying also for God to bring in the right people next to Trump. And at the same time, we need to lift our head on high. We need to set our affections on things above. We can work down here, and while we have our hearts set up there in that relationship with Jesus Christ. Friends, we must never overlook the love of God. We must not substitute the love of God for political candidates. We have to remember they can only do so much, no matter how much we love them. Okay? Anyway, friends, much more could be said. Link in the description below. Like and subscribe to the page. Click the bell icon for more. Have a good one. Bye.